cannon. Democrats still claimed him for their own. They would have been happy to nominate him as their presidential candidate in 1868 if his quarrel with Johnson had not tended to make him their adversary. The Republicans were even happier to claim him. To preserve the war-created tariff, Eastern industrialists were willing to join with the radicals in keeping the party in power through Northern bayonets and black ballots. The Democratic surge in the off-year elections of 1867 had been a warning, and Republicans of every stripe, even the reluctant radicals, had come to see the general of the armies as their only hope in 1868. Months before their convention, Republicans were forming Grant clubs. The New York political boss and manipulator Thurlow Weed, in drawing the Astors, Vanderbilt, Uncle Daniel Drew, and other Eastern magnates to Grant's candidacy, let it be known that if Grant would make no speeches and write no letters, he, Weed, would nominate and elect him. Ben Butler, who privately considered Grant America's greatest humbug, felt obliged to endorse publicly the general who had relieved him of command during the war. When the Republican convention opened in Chicago at Crosby's Opera House, Grant the Silent had, by attrition, eliminated all other candidates. The convention of soldiers and sailors, meeting in the city at the same time, heard 3 Union generals endorse the general and denounce the 7 Republican senators who had voted for Johnson's acquittal, while at mention of the president, the band played the Rogues' March. There was no need for speeches at the regular convention. The 650 delegates nominated Grant by acclamation, to the accompaniment of cheers from the balconies and the bewildered circling of released doves. Speaker of the House of Representatives, Schuyler Colfax, was picked as candidate for vice president on the 6th ballot. Smiler, they called the amiable chin-whiskered speaker, a good-tempered, chirping, warbling, real canary bird. He was said never to have lost a friend or made an enemy. Overshadowed by the personality of Grant, the Republican platform called for equal suffrage to all loyal men in the South, but then hedged by declaring that the solution to the suffrage problem belongs to the people of those states. In the generalized language of political platforms, it called for a reduction in the national debt over a fair period, and for repayment of the bonds issued during the Civil War in specie rather than in the depreciated greenback currency. The eighth plank regretted the accession to the presidency of Andrew Johnson, who has acted treacherously to the people who elected him and the cause he was pledged to support. During the convention, Grant had remained at Army headquarters in Washington, outwardly indifferent to the course of events in Chicago. Even when Stanton bustled in with the news of the nomination, he made no comment. After later being officially notified, Grant replied in a formal letter of acceptance, concluding with the epigrammatic phrase, "Let us have peace," which would become a campaign slogan. If Grant's nomination had been a foregone conclusion for the Republicans, the Democrats, meeting in New York's newly completed Tammany Hall, seemed headed for no conclusion at all. 47 possible candidates preened themselves, among them the erstwhile radical Republican Chief Justice Chase. Ever since 1860, the will-o'-the-wisp of the presidency had bewitched Chase, and now, in 1868, after being scorned by his old radical associates, he was ready to throw in his lot with the Democrats on a platform of suffrage for all, amnesty for all, good money for all, security for all citizens at home and abroad against governmental invasion. Gentleman George H. Pendleton, a former Congressman.